Thank you, Mr Deputy President. I move that the Senate take note of the Senate Rural and Regional Affairs and Transport References Committee interim report into the 3G mobile network shutdown. We can claim a small victory, yet there will be no champagne bottles popped. Telstra and Optus announced they will delay their 3G shutdown 2 months. I called for a delay in March and called for the 3G shutdown to be delayed until Australia was ready for the transition. The committee is holding an inquiry into the Telstra and Optus proposal that was established on my motion here in the Senate. That inquiry has revealed Australia is nowhere near ready to flick the switch on 3G, and there is no hope that it can be fixed in just 2 months. It's ridiculous. This short delay is nowhere near good enough. Before we can even consider going ahead with the 3G shutdown, Minister for Communications, Minister Rowland, must intervene and set guarantees and minimum service thresholds on the telcos. It's time to put Australian people above telcos' short-term company profits. The inquiry is ongoing, and given the shutdown deadline was rapidly approaching, the committee commendably issued this interim report. This inquiry discovered a tidal wave of disaster coming for business and Australians. The shutdown won't just affect 3G mobiles, of which there are still hundreds of thousands in operation. It will affect 4G mobiles, even though many of those owners think they're safe. Furthermore, as the committee notes, quote, there are close to 500,000 non-mobile devices that will not function once the 3G network is shut down. As an example, these include water and electricity meters, farming, monitoring and diagnostic equipment, medical devices, emergency phones in elevators, in addition to safety and asset tracking devices. It goes on. There are serious and, in some cases, life-threatening impacts on people and organisations if these devices do not work after the shutdown. End of quote. Telstra and Optus were at pains to point out how much money and time they have put into making customers aware. Despite these apparently huge efforts, highly ineffective efforts, the total number of mobile and non-mobile devices that the shutdown will affect is still close to 1 million. The telco companies say they're working on getting all of the 4G coverage up to the same level as 3G. They will not guarantee it will be done. Guaranteeing the coverage would be the same might cost them money. Once the 3G network is shut down, though, it will be too late. If the Communications Minister doesn't intervene, she'll be giving the telco companies free rein to screw over Australians for short-term profits. It's been clear since the inquiry's public hearings in July that this shutdown must be postponed indefinitely. The telco companies have made it clear they don't care about the consequences. Telstra and Optus have confirmed they'll charge ahead with the shutdown. The telcos are more interested in their short-term profits than the safety and lives of Australians. Let me be clear, this shutdown will put the lives of Australians at risk, and Telstra and Optus are going to do it anyway. The Minister for Communications must intervene, yet so far all we have heard is crickets. We still have no statement from the Minister that she will impose even one condition on Telstra and Optus. Not one. We haven't even seen a response from the Minister to this interim report, despite the fact it was delivered nearly 2 weeks ago, and the shutdown was due to happen in just 2 weeks from now. I wish to thank the Rural and Regional Affairs and Transport Committee for their fantastic work, especially the Secretariat, in collating the numerous submissions and organising days of important public hearings, and Senator Canavan, the Chair. The Senate successfully supported my motion yesterday ordering the government to respond to this inquiry, with Monday as the deadline. If the Minister fails to respond or fails to provide a plan to intervene, we will be pushing this further. I take this opportunity to express appreciation for Mr James Parker's comprehensive and insightful submission to the 3G inquiry and his powerful and clear witness testimony. In particular, I note that he revealed arguably the inquiry's most significant discovery, the complete lack of compatibility and standardisation across telco and phone manufacturers. It's time to put the Australian people above the short-term profits of Telstra and Optus. The Communications Minister must intervene and set minimum service thresholds and other guarantees for the telcos to fulfil before we can even consider shutting down the network. And I want to point out that France has delayed their shutdown until at least 2028 because they found out about the problems with lack of standardisation and lack of compatibility amongst phones. Britain is still on 2G, still on 3G, and has delayed their shutdown now until late this decade. The Minister must address the compatibility and standardisation issues that are costing 4G users needless expense and denying market competition. The people who are suffering are Australian consumers. I seek leave to continue my remarks.